Some gym leaders are cheaters. They have a type specialty, but then don't even stick to it. This is upsetting enough on its own, but a few of them do something even more egregious. They use an illegal Pokemon that is strong against the rest of their team's weaknesses. For example, Volkner is an electric gym leader, but in most versions of Sinnoh, he has an Octillery, a water type that is strong against Electric's only weakness, ground. Candice is even worse. She's an ice specialist, but uses a Medicham. With its fighting moves, it hits both rock and steel, two of Ice's 4 weaknesses. If it actually had a psychic attack, it would also hit fighting, bringing it up to 3 out of 4. This is outrageous! But what if it wasn't? What if this was the norm? What if every gym leader was allowed one Pokemon that countered their specialty's weaknesses? Today, I'm gonna give that to them. There are 3 rules for the leader's new cheating Pokemon. Number 1, it must come from their regional dex, the most expanded version. Number 2, it must somehow counter at least one of the types that the leader's specialty is weak to. And number 3, it cannot possess the gym leader's original typing. If it does and still counters things, then that's not cheating, that's just good team building. We begin in Kanto with Brock, whose new Pokemon is Zubat. It is a hard counter to grass types, and it makes sense. He lives right next to Mount Moon. Plus he had one in the anime. Misty's new Pokemon would be Jinx, an ice type to counter opposing grass types. Not only does she admire the ice specialist Lorelei, but in multiple versions, Cerulean City features an in-game trade where the player provides a Poliwhirl in exchange for a Jinx. Misty could just do this trade herself. She's a water gym leader, she can easily find a Poliwhirl. Lieutenant Surge would use Fearow, immune to challenger ground moves. He was a pilot in the military, so a flying type suits him. Plus they have kinda similar eyes. Erica would use Seeking against enemy fire types. Seeking is a goldfish or koi, and what do you often find in pretty Japanese gardens? Koi ponds. Koga gets a Scyther to take down psychic types. He does already use a lot of bugs, but not on every team, and his bugs are always poison types and thus weak to psychic. Scyther is not. This somewhat ninja-like bug he could catch in Fuchsia's Safari Zone would give him a better psychic counter. Plus, he is shown using one in an anime flashback. Janine can just have Scyther too. She already mostly copies her dad. Next is Sabrina, and she already cheats. In Red, Blue, Fire Red, and Leaf Green, she randomly uses Venomoth, a bug type strong against Dark. However, this doesn't actually help her that much because there's no dark types that naturally occur in Kanto. And while it does technically resist bug, I'm gonna give her something that's gonna be a bit more effective. That Pokemon is Gengar. Not only can it potentially beat a challenger's Gengar, but a common strategy against Sabrina is just using strong, normal physical attackers, like Snorlax or Tauros. A Gengar would stop them in their tracks. Plus, Ash gave her that Haunter in the anime. Blaine would use Kabutops to counter enemy rock and ground types. The Cinnabar lab is right next door, so he could definitely revive something. I think Kabutops fits him better than Amistar or Aerodactyl because it comes from the Dome fossil. And look at that man's dome! Giovanni would use Magneton for enemy water types. Several Team Rocket scientists use them, so he could easily just take one. We skip over Blue because he does not have a type specialty and move to Johto. Falkner would use Bellsprout to resist electric and take out rock types. The reason should be clear. He lives right next to Sprout Tower. Similarly, Bugsy would use Slowpoke for fire types. He lives right next to Slowpoke Well. Whitney is tricky. Because she hasn't appeared since Gen 4, her Clefairy has yet to gain the fairy type strong against normal's only weakness, fighting. Clefairy becomes the cheating Pokemon for this video if she's ever modernized, but let's hope not. But assuming Gen 4 mechanics, let's give her Skiploom. Flying is strong against fighting, plus it's cute, was pink as a Hoppip, and references Goldenrod's flower shop. Morty's ghosts technically already counter ghosts, so he needs something for dark types. I like Ariados. It's a Johto bug that's creepy crawly. I wanted to give him something that you could find in the burned tower, but none of the Pokemon there are strong against dark. Chuck would use Golem to kill some birds with a stone. Plus he throws a boulder before his battle, so the Golem could help with his training. Jasmine would use Starmie as the ultimate counter to all of Steel's weaknesses. Its water psychic typing handles ground, fire, and fighting. She can fish up a Staryu in Olivine City, plus its glowing center gem is reminiscent of her beloved Amphie's tail light. Price already breaks the ice theme with Pure Water Seal. Combining that with the secondary types of Dugong and Piloswine, he already has stab counters for 3 of Ice's 4 weaknesses, if you ignore their terrible movesets. If they were better, I would give him nothing, but the man does actually need some help. Since he has nothing for fighting, I'll just give him Far-Fetched. The reason for this is actually quite deep. They both hold some form of stick. Claire already breaks her specialty with Gyarados, but it doesn't counter any of Dragon's weaknesses. The actual dragons already do that. All that's left to counter is Ice, so I'll have her continue to copy Lance and use Charizard. Now for Hoenn. Roxanne would use Bagon, which resists both grass and water. It's found in nearby Meteor Falls, plus it has a rock-like head. The Oris Gym features a huge Dragonite fossil as well, so I actually would have given her Dratini had it been in the Hoenn decks. Brawly would have Aron. It counters both Flying and Fairy, plus resists Psychic, and it lives in Granite Cave, where Brawly has explicitly stated he trains in. Watson would have a Wingull, both immune to and strong against ground. With his work on Sea Mauville, he had to have caught one there at some point. Actually, forget Sea Mauville, the man lives in Hoenn. He has seen thousands of Wingull. Flannery would use a Gloom. Not only is it a counter to all of Fire's weaknesses, but it has Chlorophyll, and thus could make use of her Sun strategy. Plus, the orange leaves look a little like her hair. Norman would use Grumpig against fighting types. I chose it because he exclusively uses mammals in all of his initial battles, so I liked it more than Xatu. Plus, it would help make Grumpig less forgettable. To my knowledge, no major Hoenn trainer uses a Grumpig in the Hoenn region. Not even Tate and Liza in like their umpteenth Emerald rematch. Winona would use Shiftry. The grass typing resists electric and beats rock, plus Shiftry might as well be a flying type. It recently got the ability Wind Rider, plus by flapping its leafy fan, it can whip up gusts of 100 feet per second that can level houses. Additionally, legends tell of a bird Pokemon that received divine punishment for its evil deeds and had its beak and wings replaced. Tate and Liza would get 2 Pokemon, one each, Pinsir and Heracross. They handle opposing dark types extremely well, and like Solrock and Lunatone, they're another counterpart pair. Wallace would use Frostlass. It's a feminine Pokemon, much like his Milotic, and counters enemy grass types. Comparably, Juan would use Glalie. Same strategic reason, but it's here because Glalie looks meaner, and Juan's Kingdra is straight up evil. Now for Sinnoh. Rourke would use a Zubat he caught in Orberg Mine to counter grass types. This does copy Brock, but like, Rourke is already copying Brock's entire team. Just added a Cranidos to it. Gardenia would use Pachirisu. It is a little squirrel that climbs trees. And with its electricity, it could fend off the enemy flying types. Fantina would use Beautifly to combat opposing dark types. She's a contest star, and its name comes from the word beauty. It also reminds me of May using one in her contests in the anime. Maylene would use Sneasel. Its dark typing handles psychic types, while its ice typing handles flying. Plus any ground types going for her Lucario. This may seem odd, but remember that she trekked up to Snow Point on foot. She could easily catch one on the way. Wake would use Heracross. The man might as well be a fighting specialist, he is a wrestler, and Heracross also has the bug type to hit enemy grass types. And as a bonus, it's blue. Byron already has his fighting and fire weaknesses handled thanks to the secondary typings of his Bronzor, Steelix, and Bastiodon. Nothing for ground though, so I'm giving him Pelipper, which can be found outside Iron Island. As discussed in the intro, Candace and Volkner already cheat. They do not get more. The rest of this video is making the other gym leaders on even footing with these two, okay? They're not getting a second cheating Pokemon. Haha, it is I, Guarantee Boy, and Happy New Year. You too, my friend. Got any New Year's resolutions to better yourself? Just one, to sell more headphones from Raycon, the sponsor of today's video. Wait, what?
I'll better myself by bettering the lives of others.
Oh, okay, that makes sense now.
Behold, Raycon's bone conduction headphones. These sit outside your ears and transmit sound using vibrations, allowing you to enjoy your music or podcasts while staying aware of the world around you. Perfect for keeping safe on runs or not bumping into anyone in the grocery store.
Oh yeah, I love mine. I've started using mine on walks so I can both listen to my audiobook and keep an ear out for bird calls.
You're birding? Wow, your 30 snuck up on you fast, huh?
Yes.
The bone conduction headphones can be used all day thanks to 13 hours of battery life. Plus they're IP68 water and dust proof. Get premium audio quality without the premium price tag during this perfect time to upgrade your audio for the new year. Go to buyraycon.com/MandJTVBC or scan the QR code on screen to get 20% off site-wide. Thanks again to Raycon for sponsoring this video.
Nice work. I'd say your resolution is off to a great start.
Why, thank you. But I actually have to go now. I'm also in my 30s, so I guess I have to go watch birds. Ta-ta.
Now for Univa. The triplets counter your starter by design, so it's a bit wonky to give them something new. So I'll keep it simple and just give them all an Axew. Its dragon typing resists all 3 starter types, and it works with the restaurant theme because people in ancient times used its tusks as cooking knives. I wanted to give Charon a P-Dove to counter fighting types. It works great since he used Unpheasant as a rival in black and white. Sadly, it's a normal type though, and that's against the rules. Instead, I'll give him Woobat. Admittedly, this isn't a great fit, but there just are not any available psychic or flying types prior to leaving Verbank, except P-Dove. I chose Woobat simply because it is a Univa native Pokemon. Lenora is an archaeologist and the director for the Nakreen Museum, so Yamask, a Pokemon holding an ancient mask and found in ruins, is extremely on theme. Its ghost type makes it immune to the enemy fighting moves that her normal types are weak to. Roxy would get a Purloin or Liepard, depending on whether it's challenge mode or not. Dark counters Psychic, and their purple coloring fit in quite nicely. Berg would use Corphish against enemy rock and fire types. Corphish is based on a crawfish, which is an arthropod, and the bug type is essentially the arthropod type. Elisa would use Lilligant. Its grass typing is strong against both ground and rock, the latter of which is good against Hurry-Mulga. Lilligant is also a perfect fit for supermodel Elisa. This Pokemon is popular with celebrities. Skyla would use Clink or Clang. The evolution level is right on the cusp of her team. Steel deals with both rock and ice. Clink itself is found in the nearby Chargestone Cave, plus its machinery theme aligns with her work flying planes. Bryson would use Pawniard against opposing rock types. As an actor portraying Bryson Man, he uses Pawniard in the film Bryson Man. He doesn't have it in Bryson Man Strikes Back, nor Bryson Man Strikes Back 2, but he does use Bisharp in the 4th film, Bryson Man Strikes Back Harder. Oh boy, gotta be the most anticipated sequel of all time. He could also use Vullaby or Mandibuzz for fighting types, but he does not use either of those in Bryson Man Strikes Back Harder, and I just really wanted to share that movie title with you. As champion, Iris already uses Aggron, an excellent counter to opposing ice types and dragon types, plus fairy types had they existed. She could also use it as a gym leader, along with her counterpart, Drayden. Marlin would use Stunfisk against opposing electric types. It's usually found in and near water, since it is a fish, I'm pretty sure. It might just look like a fish. It's just on land, it's very trippy. Trippy, you know, because you step on it and you're like, oh no. Now for Kalos. Viola would get Pikachu to counter flying types. I chose Pikachu because she's a photographer, and if you want to make the big bucks, you gotta take pictures of the most popular Pokemon. This isn't my best reasoning, I will admit. Grant's Amara and Tyrunt share weaknesses to ground, fighting, and steel. But Amara kinda has ground handled thanks to ice. To cover both fighting and steel, I'll give him Metatite, a Pokemon that's athletic like him. Karina would use Absol. The dark type works on opposing psychic types, but it also has a mega evolution. And she is clearly into that. And if you are into this video, which you probably are, you've watched quite a way through, you should subscribe. Please. I'm begging. Ramos would use Scizor. It is strong against ice, resists bug, and is immune to poison. And it fits Ramos because it is Scizor, and he holds Scissors. Clement would use Quilladin to counter ground types, since he used Chespin in the anime. Valerie would use Espeon. Psychic is good against poison, and it'd be cool to see her use 2 evolutions. Plus, she and Espeon have kind of the same eyes. Looks less creepy on Espeon, though. I wanted to give Olympia Clefable due to its ties to space and strength over dark types, but sadly it's not in the Kalos decks. Instead, I'll give her Golurk. It can fight other ghosts and resists bug. Its mysterious origins leads me to believe it could have been ground psychic instead, and it flies like a rocket. And she is wearing space. Wulfric would use Wigglytuff against opposing fighting types. He spends time watching over the Pokemon in the Pokemon Village, where Jigglypuff can be found. Next is Alola, which has no gym leaders, but kahunas are basically the same thing. And I also have a fun theme for them. All the island names are Hawaiian words for colors, which are thus represented by the island's flowers, Oricorio, Tapu, and Kahuna outfit. So I'm gonna give each Kahuna a Pokemon that is found on their island and matches the island color. Mele Mele means yellow, so Hala would use Pikachu to counter flying types. As a bonus, his grandson Hau uses one, so it's possible Hau could be following his grandpa's example. Akala means pink, so Olivia would use Wigglytuff to counter fighting types. Ula Ula means red, so Nanu gets Ariados, a red Pokemon that resists both bug and fighting and is strong against fairy. Finally, Pony means purple, so Hapu would get Noivern, resisting water and beating grass. Now for Galar. Milo would use Yamper against flying types. There's literally several Yamper inside his gym. Nessa would use Vespiquen. Because she's a model, I wanted to give her something that radiated feminine strength, and Vespiquen is perfect since it hard counters grass types. Kabu would use Ludicolo. As a water grass type, it bodies all 3 of Fire's weaknesses. And since he doesn't use sunlight, the water moves won't be impacted. I chose it because Kabu is from Hoenn, so maybe he caught one to remind him of home, or just actually brought one with him when he moved. B would use Trevenant against opposing psychic types. It's a more masculine Pokemon, like the rest of her team. Phantump is found in nearby Glimwood Tangle, and in the Lumiose Justice Dojo, the training dummies look like Trevenant. Maybe she could fight a real one. Alistair would use Morgrem, also found in nearby Glimwood Tangle. It can counter both dark and ghost types, both of Ghost's weaknesses. Opal would get Malamar, using its psychic type to counter enemy poison types. Inkay can be seen living in Balanlea, plus Malamar suits her theme. Both it and Opal force others into doing their bidding. One such victim is Bede. He becomes the fairy leader, but his team still counters poison types well because he started out as a psychic specialist. So instead I'll give him a Pokemon to counter steel, Salazzle. Not only is it fire type, but with corrosion, it can poison them. I'm gonna cover Gordy and Melanie together, because there's a fun thing we can do here. Gordy gets Throw and Melanie gets Sock. Specifically Redos the Throw and Bluebop the Sock. There's an in-game trade in Sirchester for these Pokemon. And like the gym leaders, it is version exclusive. So each leader gets the Unova fighter the player can get in that version. The trader requests Vanillish, which would be easy for them to get considering the climate of Sirchester. Throw and Sock's colors align nicely too. 3 of Gordy's Pokemon have red or orange on them, and blue fits in perfectly on an ice team. The fighting type is also very useful for both of them. It counters Rock's steel weakness and Ice's steel and rock weaknesses. But it's also strong against each other's types, which is important because of their soured relationship. So they'd want a Pokemon that they can use to beat each other. Piers and Marnie kinda already cheat. While Piers does not use any non-dark types in his gym battle, he does use Toxtricity in champion tournaments. Marnie also uses a poison type in those same tournaments once she is actually the gym leader, Toxicroak. Since these counter fairy and resist both fighting and bug, these two don't get anything new. Raihan also spits in the face of type specialization. His gym team is only half dragon, including a Gigalith that wrecks ice types. His champions tournament team is mostly dragon, but he still has Torkoal, which again beats ice and also resists fairy. He is set to go. I'm not giving him anything new. Finally, Paldea. Katie is a baker, so I wanted to give her Fido. Alas, this does not counter any of Bug's weaknesses though, so instead I'll give her Knackly to stop fire and flying types. That actually still works with the bakery theme though. You need salt in a lot of baking, I believe. I am not a baker. Brassius would have Tadbulb to use against flying types. This is because he is an artist and thus must have light bulb idea moments. I am aware that this is stupid. Thank you. Iona would use Steenie to help fight ground types. I selected it because she's a streamer and Steenie kind of looks like a VTuber model. I'm not crazy, right? Like, you kind of see it too. Kofu would use Scyther, perfect against grass types and helpful in the kitchen. Larry's Staraptor is already quite good against fighting types, so let me give him a psychic type. Gothorita. They've kind of got the same face. Rhyme would get Kricketune. It's a bug type, good against opposing dark types, and it's a sound-focused Pokemon, pairing well with the fact that she's a rapper. Tulip's Florges takes down opposing dark types quite well, so I want to give her something for Psychic's other weaknesses. I think a great fit is Pyroar. It has a regal beauty, much like Tulip, and thanks to its fire normal typing, it is strong against Bug and immune to Ghost. Finally, and this may be stupid, Grusha would get Golden Go. Steel Ghost makes it immune to fighting and strong against rock, and it's a perfect fit for Grusha. Golden Go surfs. Grusha snowboards. That's kinda the same thing. I will admit the logistics are a little tricky. I don't know how Grusha's gonna like collect all those coins, but thematically it works, so I had to put it here. Thank you so much for watching. If you wanna see another video where I change up gym leader teams, check out my video where I gave a second type specialty to every single gym leader.